What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live, presented by Sleeper. On a Thursday night, the first night of NFL football, we got a weather delay. That's part of the reason why the stream is going live just now. We got a weather delay. Had to enjoy the first day of football that's officially here, and we got some interesting things to talk about today. Potentially the biggest scandal in the NBA since Tim Donaghy. We're going to discuss that. As well as the Blazers having some ambitious plans for what they could turn the Rose Quarter into. We're going to talk about what the Moda Center needs as far as renovations. And we're going to talk about an article from Joe Freeman of The Oregonian as he talked to a team source and got some insight into what the Blazers might be thinking long-term for renovations. It's going to be a fun article to dive into. Eric, what's going on, man? How's your Thursday treating you?
What's up, Tori? What's up, chat? How's everyone doing? My Thursday's going well. Just winding down.
Yep, I dig the Disneyland shirt. I dig it.
Got a bunch of new shirts on my trip. So.
Nice. I'm rocking the Coca-Cola shirt. So, yeah, man, it's been a good Thursday. Excited for the weekend. Excited for football to be back. Excited for commercials on Red. Actually, I'm not excited for commercials on Red Zone, but I'll probably still get Red Zone nonetheless. Apparently, it's supposed to be only 2 minutes of programming is supposed to be commercials, is what I read. I think anything more than that is very brutal. But it's always funny how ESPN gets correlated with something. They had a deal with the NFL and bought access to Red Zone, and then all of a sudden it's full screen commercials. It just feels like the ESPN effect on things. But yeah, excited for Sunday's slate of games. Excited to watch some football tomorrow. So I'm in full football mode. At least until the NBA season starts. Chat, let me know how your week's going in the live chat. If you're tuning in after the fact, we always appreciate you watching the show. Couple quick things on the docket. Yeah, you know what? I'll save it. I'll save it for a later stream. I'll save it for later this month. We're not going to go into that. Okay? All right. What a teaser.
No.
What a teaser.
Just rip that info from
Rip the info from it. Well, anyway, Eric, what's on your mind, man? I'm tossing the intro over to you because I'm pulling the information from the people.
Is this because you got called out for denying media credentials?
Yeah, let's so apparently I learned over the weekend. I did some Google searching of the channel chat, and I learned that apparently according to an internet source, I turned down an offer of credentials from a media member because I did not want to be swayed by the organization. Never mind the fact that I went through, I wouldn't call it a media member, but it's a radio guy who helped me last year apply for credentials, and I got turned down, But yeah, apparently, according to the internet, I read some wild stuff last night. That's always fun. I'm sure you guys can assume what website it's on, but yeah, it's always
grateful, man.
It's always fun. It's always fun to just you know what, man. It's one of those things where I don't think I'm not famous. Of course, I just have a YouTube channel, but it's a big enough YouTube channel that I can go online and just read misinformation about myself, and it's very strange. It's very, very strange to just be able to go on Google and search things and read information about yourself. I'll probably never get used to it. So that was a fun time last night. I've gotten to the point that I can enjoy it now. Even the hateful comments, I'm chilling with it. So, but yeah. Anyway, apparently I turned down credentials. So hopefully when I apply for them this year, I'm literally building a website right now to try and help my case. Hopefully they forget that I turned them down from a media member.
The best part that I read off that, because you mentioned that, and so I had to read what it was all about. You were kind of vague about it, but
yeah.
So I think even our biggest haters we'll say, would like agree that we, if nothing else, put out a ton of content, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're sitting here on September 4th, and this is what we have to talk about. I sit here 20 minutes before streams like, what am I going to make the stream about? But we still love putting out content in September. We still stream twice a week. I have people that ask me, why do you still stream so much in September? And my answer is literally, because I like to. Because I enjoy it. But anyway, go on.
But yeah, I think like I said, even our biggest haters would agree that we flood the we flood the content, right? Like we have twice weekly shows, we have post game shows, we have the twice weekly shows all year round, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I saw one comment that called us lazy or whatever, and like that's like it didn't bug me or anything, but it's just like how are we lazy?
That's like the last. You can hate me as much as you want. That's the last thing you can say about me. I mean, I've said this on stream. I'm up before trade deadline streams, draft streams. I'll literally be up for 36 hours straight trying to build the like graphic package for it. Not even because I'm going to benefit that much from it, just because I want to create a good stream for the viewer. So that was funny to read.
Yeah, calls a-hole whiners, complainers, whiner uprise, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Even though I've been kissing a lot of Joe Cronin ass this offseason. It's I even took Cronin and Cronin and Chauncey. We had this conversation recently. I took Cronin and Chauncey over Stotts and Olshey. The thing is, people will try and spin that into he just hates Stotts that much. He hates him more than Cronin, but he hates them both. But no, I'm it's weird because I'm actually optimistic going into this season for the first time in like 4 or 5 years. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I always come back to this. Like I don't expect this show to be everyone's cup of tea. Like that's totally fine if you don't like us or whatever. But
I don't like tea. So
yeah, but yeah. I mean, we've always like said what we feel. We don't try to conform to everyone else's idea of what they want. We're constantly being told like, oh, you guys should be more positive or something. It's like, well, we've had these shows for 6 years now, and during that time, it hasn't been the greatest time to be a Blazer fan. So hopefully that's changing, and we can be more positive because we're excited and stuff like that. Like if we would have had this channel the year before you started it, it's like I mean, no one would have. I mean, people might have matched us, but no one would have like been screaming and more excited than us about going to the Western Conference Finals and all that stuff.
Yeah. This conversation is cool because of September. Once we get into the season, I'm like, this year especially, I'm just completely past the point of trying to have that argument with anybody or trying to say like a positive or negative or even having the conversation about it. I'm gonna speak my opinion. It's that simple. I don't, for me, I don't need to go back over things and overanalyze things. Overanalyze what we say, overanalyze how people react. Like, I feel like if anything, that we don't need to justify ourselves.
Right.
We don't need to justify ourselves to anybody. You know what I mean? It's pointless. So this year especially, that's kind of my mindset towards everything. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, we would have been positive 5-6 years ago. Listen, I'll give my thoughts, negative or positive. They are what they are, and people will like them or dislike them. It's that simple, and we'll just keep it rolling. I'm super confident in our content going into the season. I'm super confident in some of the things we have cooking. So, we're going to do that. Some people are going to hate it. Some people are going to love it. I like it that way. That's fine. I'd rather be polarizing than have no platform. So I'll take it.
Shout out to Josh Sargent for making me feel even worse. Say it's easier to be a Blazer fan than a Beaver fan. Yeah,
it's pretty hard to be both, though. Yeah. I will say... It might be harder to be a Mariner fan than it is a Beaver fan.
I mean, yeah, you guys did have a long playoff drought, but
Dude, I got drunk at a game that they won, and like they went 10-1 and tied for the division, and I like kind of fell in love with baseball for the first time since a kid. And what did they do after that? They have proceeded to completely fall apart like they do every freaking year, and makes I'm heartbroken right now, Eric. I was super happy today because they didn't play a freaking game. I was super happy because they didn't play a game. And it's like every time I get optimistic about that team, it hurts in the end. So it's getting harder and harder to be optimistic about that team, right? It's brutal. If you don't follow baseball, you don't get it. But it's one of the roughest experiences. Like, yeah. So
I
the
mean,
funny thing is,
they're
there's
still in
still a
the
game
wild
and a
card,
half.
right?
Yeah, but they went from having like a 95% chance of making the playoffs. Now it's down to 75% chance, Eric. But it feels like 25%. They've lost 5 out of 6. They had like a 6-game losing streak earlier in the month. They made trades at the deadline, had a good roster, went on a 10-1 run. They won 10 out of 11 games. Would you look at that? 10 out of 11 games. It's a magic number. And then they fell apart. So, anyway, I'm tired of my teams winning 10 out of 11 games and being trash the rest of the season. It would be nice to do more than just win 10 out of 11 games, you know? That'd be cool. I'd be very happy with that. So,
Well, my Reds were in the wild card a couple weeks ago too, and they've completely fallen off as well. So
it's brutal out here. Brutal. And then we get to see the Niners lose to the Seahawks. Anyway, this is the me being negative. There's some positive news I think about. I wouldn't call it positive news, but it's kind of the article that we're going to talk about today. I enjoyed reading about like some of the ambitious plans the Blazers have if money wasn't an obstacle, which reality is never so simple, but we're going to talk about those. But we also got to talk about the Kawhi thing. So
yes, us being CBA nerds.
Yeah, do you wanna kind of set the table here? I'm sure some of you in chat have heard about it, but if you have not, this is either a nothing burger or it's the biggest scandal since Tim Donaghy, probably. Like, I don't know what would top it. So lay the land for us, Eric.
Well, forget what day it was, a couple days ago. Pablo Torre, who's been doing some major investigations lately, he broke a bunch of NFL news, and he's also been really digging into the Bill Belichick and whatever his girlfriend's name is, Jordan or something. He's been breaking some stuff on that as well this summer or over the past few months, and he drops a bombshell on his podcast the other day that basically that a fake company gave Kawhi $28 million to do nothing, and then it comes out that Steve Ballmer financed the company, and all that kind of stuff. So it looks really bad. This is like in college, you used to hear about this stuff. That's part of the reason why, until recently, athletes weren't allowed to have like normal jobs while they were college athletes because of stuff like this, where they wouldn't show up to work, but the company would still pay them as a way to like paying them money or whatever. So and then so Ballmer comes out and basically, or the Clippers come out with a statement saying that this had nothing to do with them. This was a company that actually conned them as well, including Steve Ballmer, conned him out of a bunch of money, and that this wasn't him paying Kawhi or anything like that. And then Gambo, uh, whether I don't know how trustworthy do you think Gambo is as a source?
On Sun stuff, I think he's relatively trustworthy. I don't know if I trust him on anything else.
Yeah, so he came out and said that Kawhi or like his representatives asked Toronto for some $15 million endorsement deal in 2019 they if they wanted him to consider staying in Toronto. Now I don't know if that was just a side note. Don't know if that's true or not or whatever. But we do know for a fact, um, Kawhi's uncle at the time asked for a bunch of extra benefits from the Clippers before he signed there. Now the NBA investigated. Turns out the Clippers didn't give in to any of those demands, apparently. But there was rumors of impropriety back then. So, and so much so that it was investigated. And so all this stuff is coming out now. And then Ballmer, just a few minutes ago, went on Sports Center with Ramona Shelburne, and it was a really weird interview. He did not come across well, in my opinion. He seemed a little crazy. And
When does he not seem a little crazy though?
no, he did. He always does. But he, I don't know. Like for those that are saw it too. I don't know if you guys got the same impression. But like he was giving weird answers and all this stuff. Basically denied knowing anything about anything else. Um, and so obviously this is huge if it's true. My thing always comes back to this. Whenever there's a scandal, whenever there's like Penn State or Baylor, when you find out that they have years of like sexual misconduct or something and they swept it under the rug and didn't didn't like do anything about it. So if you knew all this stuff, because there was a recent court case with this company, Aspirations, I think is the name,
Aspiration.
and um, so somehow that I think someone is going to jail or something for defrauding people, something like that. But so like all this stuff came out through that trial apparently, and then the thread was unraveled by Pablo. But if you truly did nothing wrong and you knew that this potentially could come out, like nowadays, I feel like everything comes out eventually. Why not get ahead of it? Like, why would they not just release a statement saying, "Hey, there was uh, Aspirations was a company we invested in. Kawhi was then a sponsor of them. This is going to look very bad, but we did not have anything to do with it." Instead of it looks so much worse when someone reports that Kawhi made $28 million from this fake company, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't understand why these companies do not just get out in front of it and make it much easier for them to stand behind that. Now saying it after the fact, it looks like you're just trying to like cover it up.
Yeah. Is it even legal to invest in a company as like an owner of a team that then pays your player though? Because that's just like you know what I mean? It's
Yeah. So Ballmer was asked that on Sports Center, and he basically said that he got conned out of money, and it's legal for them to introduce the player to a company, but like he can't like negotiate or anything. And he tried to say, "Oh, this happened in November. We signed the agreement in August or something, September." So he was trying to say the dates don't line up for us to like have paid him under the table.
still super
But
fishy.
yeah, I mean, it's like a month later, 2 months later, like it's
Like,
still yeah.
could that
So
have been a condition upon him buying stake in the company? You know what I mean?
right, and
Like,
it's like, oh, let's just wait a couple months so it looks
yeah,
like it wasn't the case, right? Yeah,
yeah. So basically Kawhi being paid $7 million a year for 4 years is $28 million to contractually not have to do a single thing is super strange. Super weird.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the other part. Like, why would they?
No company is going to go out, no legitimate company is going to go out there and spend $28 million to somebody to do absolutely nothing for that company. Like, why? You're basically throwing $28 million down the drain. It makes no sense. Like, nobody has heard of this company. Nobody's heard Kawhi talk about this company. So, it clearly, to me, was not a legitimate endorsement. It's very clear. It very clearly wasn't. I think there's two different paths. One is like it was somehow a scam. The thing that I struggle to understand is how exactly the scammers would benefit from this type of contract for Kawhi if they're just supposed to be paying him $28 million. Like, where are they making the money off this scam? I don't know. And maybe I just don't know enough about scams, especially ones of this potential nature. I know Mark Cuban went on Twitter and was basically calling out Pablo Torre and basically saying it was a scam and he has Ballmer's side. And I mean, I'm going to take that with a grain of salt, being that it's one former billionaire, or not former billionaire, one billionaire former NBA owner sticking up for a current billionaire NBA owner, right?
Big surprise. Yeah.
Big surprise. Either it's a scam or the Clippers got extremely messy, because the thing that I struggle to wrap my head around is why, if the Clippers intended to circumvent the NBA salary cap, why were they so messy with it? Like, why is Pablo Torre able to just follow a paper trail and uncover this stuff and see, like, Aspiration has a deal with KL2, which is Kawhi's company. You know, he can find this information out. Unfortunately, there is more shrewd ways to do this. Unfortunately, there's a chance that other NBA teams do this in a way that is far harder to detect, which opens up a whole Pandora's box of issues for the NBA, because essentially your CBA, your salary cap, isn't effective anymore. So that's a huge, huge problem. And this is why I said in the intro, this could be the biggest scandal since Tim Donaghy if NBA teams are able to do this. But it took years to uncover it, and it took Pablo Torre, like, digging up a paper trail and interviewing people before he reported this. Like, if he didn't take the initiative to look into this, would we have ever known about this? And now learning everything that we've learned about the situation, from Kawhi not having to do a single thing for the company to, you know, what Ballmer's saying about investing in the company, and it's super sloppily done. It's super sloppily done. So I'm just baffled as to, if the Clippers got caught, why did they make it this easy to catch them?
Because the only reason why they got caught, as Brennan points out in chat, is because this company got investigated for fraud, and all their financials had to come out. Had this never come out, like in a court case where the documents had to be released, there would have been no way of knowing any of this.
The thing is, like, if maybe I'm missing some details here, but if Kawhi had it written into his contract, and if he did a couple of things, you know, even if it's just like a couple Instagram posts or whatever for this company, they'd have plausible deniability, right?
Well, Easy Nightmare said that there were several other celebrities that endorsed them, and they all had like social media posts and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas Kawhi didn't do anything for them.
Exactly.
So.
If Kawhi had done stuff, it would look far less fishy. The fishy thing is the way it was written into his contract and him not having to do anything. So that's why it's like, why Kawhi, do one Instagram post a year. We can say, you know, we valued that at $7 million a year, even though that's insane. Like, have him do something. That to me, it's like they wanted it to be so secret that they didn't even want him to do anything, which makes it look worse now that it was uncovered. So that part doesn't make sense to me. Also, there's, there with crypto being a big thing, you could probably keep your payments a little bit more secret and
Yeah,
do things through crypto. I
that's
know
our
$7
total
million.
exposure.
Yeah, $7 million is a lot in crypto, but if you're talking about $7 million over a course of a year through crypto transactions, like those can basically be anonymous. So it just seems sloppily done, and it's weird. It's weird
Mhm.
how sloppily this was done, assuming that the Clippers got their hand caught in the cookie jar, reaching for $7 million to pay Kawhi every year to
Yeah.
circumvent the freaking cap.
And Aeromancer mentions the BioFreeze thing with the Blazers. So BioFreeze was a sponsor, a jersey sponsor for the Blazers, for what, 2 or 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and they also, as part of that, signed Dame to an endorsement deal in which he did commercials and stuff. Like, but Dame actually did stuff for them. Like, he actually endorsed their product. It's not like they just paid him because he was a Blazer or whatever.
Yeah.
And the key point with that is BioFreeze was a company sponsoring both the Blazers and Dame, whereas this company with the Clippers, I mean, Ballmer had a ton of money invested into the company, so like that that makes it shady. It's not like Jody Allen had a stake in BioFreeze or something, like, and was somehow using that to funnel money to Dame. This is actually a case where Steve Ballmer may have just been secretly funding this company so that he could funnel money to Kawhi. Like, it's so crazy.
Yeah. And he's also the richest owner in sports. So,
Mhm.
and he's also crazy competitive. We see him on the sidelines. So if there is a guy to do this type of thing, I feel like he's right there at the top of the list. And the thing is with the biofreeze thing too, it's not like Jody was potentially controlling where their finances went and set up a fake endorsement deal for Dame. Dame was endorsing a product. The shadiest thing the Blazers could have done there is go to them and say, "Hey, we'll give you $2 million off a jersey patch sponsorship if you take that $2 million and take it to Dame and give Dame those $2 million so we can hook him up with some more money." Like, hypothetically, to me, that's the shadiest thing they could do. But also, it's not. It's I don't know. Maybe teams do that, but it's not like the Blazers needed to do that with Dame. So yeah, it's completely different things.
I have a question though. Why why would they do this for Kawhi? It's not like they won anything and he'd been hurt most of the time he'd been
Well,
there.
to
Like,
get him to leave Toronto to go there, right?
no, this was when he signed his extension
Yeah.
in 2021. This was 2 years after.
Could they have set this up ahead of time? Like, I don't know.
I mean,
Especially if he was going to Toronto, Kawhi was going to Toronto saying, "Get me $15 million in endorsements."
they probably did something there that hasn't been uncovered yet. Maybe
Yeah,
that'll
and then
be
like replaced
uncovered,
it.
but
Yeah,
but but like, okay, once he was on your team, it hadn't been working out. Like, kind of like with Paul George. Like, if Paul George wants to leave, just say screw him. I'm not paying more than a max contract. Like, it's once Kawhi was in the on the Clippers for a few years and was hurt, half the time or more, they probably should have. Uh, like, it was probably questionable to give him a max contract anyway, let alone more money on top of that. This isn't like a lot of people are looking at the Knicks situation right now, where Jalen Brunson takes like $100 million less to go to New York or to like help the team out or whatever.
he's not the only player there that's taken a pay cut either, though, right?
Well, I mean, Mikal took like a $2 million pay cut, not
Yeah,
113 million or
true.
whatever.
I guess it's
So,
negligible.
yeah, but like, uh, the thing is, like, why? I don't understand going through all that trouble. I mean, I know you gave up all the picks and stuff, but like, um, I mean, at some point you gotta cut your losses, don't you?
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know how the NBA would punish him, but it's something. The NBA, unfortunately, in the past calendar year, has had a couple things that are a little threatening to the integrity of the league. The betting stuff, is Jonte Porter, that is Malik Beasley, and like possibly Terry Rozier, and then this threatening, the sanctity of their salary cap system. If you can circumvent the salary cap in this way, especially as like a big market, if the Knicks truly did something behind the scenes to get Jalen Brunson to take a big pay cut, like you're basically just breaking the rules of the CBA. It's very frowned upon, and the CBA isn't, the salary cap isn't effective if teams can pay players money off the books. So it's an issue. Unfortunately, I don't know if Adam Silver's the right GM or the right commissioner to handle the situation. Funny
Which
enough,
is weird because like the last Clippers situation, you'd think everyone would agree he was the right person to handle this, right?
yeah, that was very early. I don't know. My this is a whole nother conversation that I'm not going to get into right now, but my faith in Adam Silver as the commissioner of this league is on shaky ground right now in general. But if this is true, he's going to have to respond in a major way. And there is the worry for me that it would be too light of a slap on the wrist, because you really have to punish this thing to dissuade other teams from trying to do the same crap.
Even if it's not able to be proven one way or the other, I think you still have to come down pretty hard on them for even getting involved in a situation that could be misconstrued as that. And I know, in my opinion, if they're going to punish them, it has to at least match what Minnesota got for paying Joe Smith under the table, which was initially 5 first-round picks, and I think they got 2 given back to them in like an appeal process or whatever. But so it ended up being 3 first-round picks they got stripped of, and their GM Kevin McHale at the time and the owner both got suspended, I believe. Both got fined like a crap load of money. The money's not going to be a big deal for Ballmer, obviously.
I thought it was 5 first-round picks, not 3.
It was 5, and then the NBA gave 2 back in like an appeals process or whatever. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was initially ruled 5 first, but I think they only ended up losing 3 when all was said and done. But it's got to be at least the punishment now, right? If not worse.
Yeah, major fines, but here's the problem.
They also avoided avoided Joe Smith's contract, and
Tori not listening. No, I was listening to 90% of it, and then I was trying to read chat. This is what I get for reading chat. For all you people that want me to respond, Trevin. Just kidding, but yeah, I was reading chat. Here's the problem, though. Can you find Ballmer enough where he's even going to notice it? Probably not. Like $100 million to this guy is nothing. Absolutely nothing. He has money falling out of his ears.
Suspending him for a couple of years would hurt him, though, a lot.
Yeah.
He's a very involved owner and stuff. So
yeah, it'd have to be that. I don't think fines are really going to have any sort of impact. So,
and losing Kawhi.
Yeah. True. I will say this. Can Ballmer get in on MLB to PDX so he can just pay for a whole stadium, and then there's no salary cap to circumvent anyway, so he can literally buy Portland a championship through a baseball team. That's what I want. Sounds good to me.
Yep. Also, that's how the suspensions work for owners. So he just wouldn't be allowed to make any decisions or whatever. And then also, wouldn't be able to go to games and stuff like that. So, I mean, he probably still would make decisions. I'm sure. I'm not saying be completely on the up and up, but um, yeah,
and then he'll get a makeup artist and a fake one of those real life masks, and he'll be sitting courtside.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, man. So okay, where did this comment go? So Izzy Nightmare says Ballmer invested $50 million into the company while they were sponsoring the construction of Intuit Dome, but now, like, Ballmer's on SportsCenter saying that the company scammed him and they didn't do anything with the money. Well, how do you not know that they weren't doing what you paid them $50 million to do with the stadium? Like, it doesn't make sense. Something's not adding up, right? Like, why did you pay them $50 million and then not say anything until now if they didn't do anything with that $50 million?
Yeah, what were they supposed to do with the $50 million? What were they supposed to do? Other than just give it to Kawhi so you could circumvent the cap. And then Pablo Torre interviewed 7 people that used to work at the company. One said he was told the stuff for Kawhi was literally to circumvent the salary cap, So, believe it or not, it's...
Yeah, that's hard to say whether...
Yeah. So, that's not like evidence that's just automatically going to hold up in court, an anonymous person saying that. But, yeah, it's bad. It's fishy. Even if it's the best case scenario for Ballmer and the Clippers, it's still very, very fishy, and there's a lot of explaining to do if this was not their intention. And there's a ton of questions that are being asked, and it's going to be interesting to follow, man. It's going to be a storyline, I think, unless it just kind of disappears like the GP2 Toradol thing. Maybe the NBA just wants people to forget about it, a year from now.
Well, Ballmer said he's mad.
Yeah. All jokes aside, nobody's going to forget about this. You said Ballmer said he was what?
He said several times how mad he was and how frustrated he was. But to me, that screamed, just the way he said it, it screamed mad he got caught, not mad that, like, people are making stuff up about him, right? Like,
yeah.
It just seems like, oh man, I got caught, I'm gonna throw a big fit and act like I'm
Well, I think to me it's if he did try and circumvent the cap and got caught and is trying to lie about it, and his excuse is I got scammed, it's a lot of like, all right, in order to sell people on this, I need to play up the emotions I would feel for getting scammed. So I'm so mad I got scammed, like so mad that this is a thing, all right, because he's trying to portray the emotions that he would feel in that situation. And it's almost something where if he's, I don't know. I feel like sometimes you can tell when people are trying to display the emotions they feel like they should display in a situation where they're lying, and they will over-exaggerate it or reiterate it more than they would if they were telling the truth. And is that one of those things?
Well, I'm just wondering, where was this anger and stuff when he got scammed, right? Like, why did it take this Kawhi stuff coming out to show this anger? Why isn't there video of him a couple weeks ago saying how mad he was that this company scammed him?
Yeah.
Yeah. That I hope it doesn't come back to the Clippers because they did nothing wrong. I got scammed by this company or whatever. Like I said, he could have just gotten out in front of this, and did Kawhi, like, chat, help me out? Did Kawhi actually get the money, or was he like left holding the bag too?
See,
Yeah.
for Kawhi, it wouldn't even be him getting scammed. He was being paid to do nothing. So if he doesn't get paid to do nothing, is he getting scammed?
He got 21 million of the 28.
Does Ballmer have 1 or 2 L's in it? I forget.
I think it's 2.
Because I'm going to do a chat poll. Do you believe Steve Ballmer intended to circumvent the salary cap? Yes or no question. All right, we're going to see the results of this poll. While this poll is live, while you're voting in this poll, I'll give my thoughts after we get some results in the poll. I mean, I think what I think is pretty clear. Leave a like on the stream. Leave a like on the stream. All right, out of 17 votes, we have 94% say yes, they believe Steve Ballmer intended to circumvent the salary cap. I am with those people. It just makes far more sense for that to be what happened than anything else to me.
Yes, it's one of those things like choose the most logical and simplest explanation is probably the truth.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, so people are saying, how did Kawhi get scammed? Well, if this was a circumvention of the salary cap, he was promised this money most likely when he signed the deal or shortly thereafter, where they had a wink agreement that he would be taken care of in other ways through a sponsorship that would be coming down the road. Don't worry, it's just, that's way more likely than, this random company that ended up doing nothing and paid Kawhi a bunch of money for doing nothing a month or two after he signed an extension just happened to want to give him $28 million for no reason at all. And lo and behold, Steve Ballmer is the investor, the main investor in this company. Okay, like what? How does that turn into like, oh, this company scammed all of us? Like, I don't know. Just that seems way too far fetched.
Yeah, I have a very important question. Okay, if a scammer gets scammed, did they actually get scammed?
I mean, yeah, technically they got scammed, but
if they were scamming someone else,
you could say they deserved it. But yeah,
can a scammer get scammed by having the scam that they're doing get pulled out from underneath their feet? Because if Kawhi accepted these improper payments, he's basically scamming the league by also circumventing the cap for his own personal gain, right? So he's also kind of scamming. So then if that rug gets pulled out from underneath him when he was doing nothing for this bag to circumvent the cap, to me that's like a scammer getting scammed. So do I view, if the rug got pulled out from underneath him, do I view that as him getting scammed if he was in on circumventing the cap? I don't view that as him getting scammed. I view that as, I don't know. That's an important question for chat to answer, I think.
But here's the thing. If he paid the money to the company, isn't he the scammer? So didn't he scam himself?
If who paid the money to the company?
If Ballmer is the one who gave this company $50 million to give to Kawhi or whatever, basically as an investment, didn't he scam himself?
Yeah, it also applies to Ballmer because he's trying to scam the leagues and he gets the rug pulled out from underneath him. Does that mean he got scammed? I don't know. This is a very important, I don't know what the word for this type of question is, but yeah, I don't know. If you're scamming someone and you get that rug pulled out from underneath your feet, I don't view you as getting scammed. So I think if both Ballmer and Kawhi were trying to circumvent the cap, they can't sit here. I mean, they'll sit here and say they got scammed, but they really don't have a leg to stand on there at all. And I mean, that's kind of moot to the initial point of them trying to circumvent the cap. I just thought it was a funny thing to consider, you know?
And I mean, this is just in a broader thing, but pretty much everyone tries to get out of paying taxes or pay as little taxes as possible and things like that. So especially rich people that don't have to pay a certain percentage of their income, whereas the rest of us do. Obviously there's ways of moving money around. For years, you'd hear all these NBA teams are losing money and all the money coming in and all that stuff. So like, yeah, there's ways of like cooking the books and doing all that stuff or making it look like you're not making money for tax purposes. But yeah, it's crazy.
One person voted no. Out yourself. Mark Cuban,
Only
show
one person.
yourself. Yeah. Mark Cuban's watching the stream, bro. Anyway. Those are my thoughts on this conversation. Those are my thoughts on this conversation.
Austin voted no. Why? Why do you think it was a no?
Yeah. I would love your explanation on why it was a no. Anyway, just sitting here in silence, waiting for the answer from chat. Other owners aren't going to stand for this unless they're all literally doing the same thing, which I don't think they are. And if you're not, and you're seeing a team do this and like circumvent the rules that are in place, Adam Silver works on behalf of the owners. So, I am assuming that the majority of the owners across the league are frowning upon this or straight up pissed off about this, and that's who Adam Silver represents. So, how does that affect a potential punishment? We'll see. We will see.
Man, remember when Sham said this is going to be the craziest offseason ever? If like next week Kawhi's a free agent.
Yeah. That would be funny. What makes you think other owners aren't doing this? I think I would assume the majority of other owners aren't doing this.
I mean, most. Okay, like I said, I do think. I mean, it's most of it's legal, but like owners will constantly do stuff that, like I said, makes it look like they're losing money or something for tax purposes. If you own a business or whatever, like you understand that kind of stuff. But like, um, it's just I don't know. Like I don't. Maybe you could say this Dame situation right now. Uh, we're only paying him 14 million a year. Maybe you could say, oh, maybe we had some sort of agreement under the table,
with
right?
our ownership that's leaving.
Exactly, yeah. But that I'm just saying, like, just roll with me for a second. But like, when Dame was making like 65 million a year, and they were like struggling to sign free agents or make trades because he's taken up 35% of the cap or whatever, like we're not also going to be paying more money under the table. Like it's crazy because like, and yeah, like as Rip City points out, Dame's making the money from the Bucks as well, but like it's just like I understand like a lot of there's probably some situations where teams are doing something similar. There's a lot of these people who, like, if you're rich, other rich people, and it'd be very easy to just be like, hey, give my boy an endorsement, like, hey, Phil Knight, sign, LeBron to this deal or whatever if he signs in LA. And the Brunson thing is like, it could be as simple as New York provides a greater opportunity for endorsements and stuff like that. Now, I think that's not as crucial as it used to be in a big market. I think you can still market yourself in any market now with social media and stuff. But I mean, it's a fine line. Like there's Jalen Brunson's probably getting $100 million more in endorsements over his career, being the star in New York versus coming off the bench in Dallas. So that is part of the equation. The difference is, did the owners set any of that up? Which in this situation, it almost looks like Ballmer completely funded this whole fake company to pay him. So I don't know. I don't think many of the owners are doing that extreme. And with the way contracts are in the NBA, fully guaranteed, all that kind of stuff, for most of them, I don't see many players needing to have a deal under the table on top of what's already present, short of, maybe we could look at teams that signed a player for really cheap, like a minimum contract or something. But I don't know, man. I don't think with the way the contracts are that you have to do that anymore. And that's why I was surprised that this was even a thing, possibly, because he was already on a max contract and barely played. Why would you have to pay him more than that?
Yeah. This whole situation is just very, very weird. But, if we get more news over the course of this month, we'll talk about it on stream because it is a pretty big deal. What's also a big deal, if you were not here for our last stream, is we have a new sponsor this season that we're going to be doing some fun stuff with our sports content. That sponsor, of course, is Sleeper. So right now on the Sleeper Picks app, I forgot to connect my phone screen. In the future, I'll be connecting my phone screen. We can make some picks live on stream, do something fun, which I also think will be super fun once we get into NBA season, because I think I should be better at making NBA picks than any other picks, right? But we're going to be doing some fun content this year around Sleeper, making picks, in between games. I want to put out more video content this year, and we're going to incorporate Sleeper in a fun way. And if you want to get in on Sleeper, of course, they have fantasy football leagues. It's a little bit late for that now with the first game of the season kicked off today. But if you want to play daily fantasy, basically all you have to do is go into their app. You pick more or less on whatever players they have. They have a bunch of different sports. They'll have NBA, an NBA season. You pick more or less on a few stats. You combine those together into what's called a parlay, and you can win decent money, big money. Parlays are fun because you get to predict 3, 4, or 5 things, as many different things as you want. If they all go right, you can really win. So we're going to be doing some fun activations around them. Shout out to them for sponsoring the channel this season. Use code Uprise. You'll get a $100 deposit match up to $100 over on Sleeper. And it's a great way to support the channel and support Sleeper, our sponsor for the season. Eric, I'm looking forward to maybe doing some first night of back-to-back, like we both have a parlay for the following day type stuff. We're going to find fun ways to integrate it. And also I can create like a group. So I think I'll create a group on Sleeper where if you guys also want to submit your parlays, we can have like a Blazers Uprise group that I can see how you guys are doing. You guys can see what I'm doing, and can just be a fun interactive thing with the community. And that's why I love Sleeper as a sponsor. You guys know I like to be interactive with you. So having a sponsor that we're able to do some fun stuff, integrate into the content, talk about other NBA players, teams, all that stuff, which we love to do, as well as do something with the community, is super cool to me. So shout out to them. Use there's a link in the description box below as well to sign up for Sleeper.
And as you know, being a hardcore fantasy, football, I guess, participant, this is skill, right? It's not necessarily
It's brain power.
Other stuff, right? It's fantasy is skill based.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And me and Eric, our league just kicked off for the season, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah,
AJ Brown.
I know AJ Brown kind of screwed Eric over today. I traded
also,
Eric the pick that became AJ Brown. I'll just say that, and he did nothing to do.
It's fine. I don't blame you for that. But Also, I would like to just point out our last stream, we had a conversation about how I did not want to take Christian McCaffrey at 4, and now it
At
comes
five,
at
right?
5. I mean, I was considering taking Ashton Genty there and just being crazy, and now it comes out today, just like last year, before even game 1, Christian McCaffrey has a calf situation going on again, and yeah,
Well,
at least I have his backup, but
a certain Niners reporters. There was Niner reporters talking about how I'm not gonna say names, but there is a Niners report talking about how the Blazers, jeez, the Niners were healthier than they've been in years, and then 2 hours later, it's Christian McCaffrey calf strain. Yeah, the Niners are never healthy. I'm not. They're kind of like the Blazers.
They've had all kinds of injuries this offseason.
I know it didn't really make sense, but yeah, it's funny because when I look at like Niners Twitter and when I compare it to like myself and Blazer media, I can see like who's who over there as well, who loves the organization, who is very critical of the organization. It's always funny to look at that and just see like kind of the same sort of setup as we have here, just much bigger because it's the Niners. So yeah, hopefully they're healthy, man. I mean, at least you got Brian Robinson as your handcuff.
Yeah.
Did you pass up on Saquon?
No, I would have taken Saquon.
Okay. You passed up on CD.
Yeah.
CD, who dropped passes tonight but had a decent game. If he's healthy, he could be great. It's just been a rough start with AJ Brown and then that news and then your guy Bill. I saw he's second on the depth chart on the latest.
I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah.
I told you I'm not worried. Even if he can be 48th on the depth chart in a few weeks, it'll change.
I love it. He just needs to prove that he deserves a starting role. And then maybe he'll still be the second string. I'm kidding.
Who's first string, Tori?
Chris Rodriguez Jr.?
No, did you see who was first?
No.
It's freaking Austin Eckler.
I mean, pass catching wise, he's a good pass catching back.
But that's who
between
took
the tackles
first reps.
Runner, it's they don't really.
Yeah, that's why I'm not worried about it. He's already up to second in terms of reps in practice, and it's behind Eckler, who had a horrible year last year, and it's like 47 years old. So like,
my worry would just be that being like a 3 running back committee.
Oh yeah,
we'll see.
Sure.
But like, it's a great offense. So if he can win out those touches and a great offense, get goal line work like that, hopefully Jane Daniels doesn't vulture. He has that upside. So I get it.
I mean, Eckler will definitely get opportunities that they'll take away from him, but yeah, it's kind of weird in like a 1 year league, like a redraft league.
Yeah,
it's like you can make all the right decisions, get all the sleepers, but then you have to put them back in the shit sucks.
I like after the conversation about how the Clippers were circumventing the cap, I like Gregory's comment talking about the way that I'm funneling money.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, man, totally. Let's talk about something that I think is fun. I think this is going to be a fun conversation, okay? Because there was an article today, and I've always been the type of person to like dream of like architectural development. Whether it's like, what if Vancouver, Washington had like skyscrapers in a true downtown, where would that go? Like, what if we had a freeway? I've said this on stream. We need a freaking freeway connected to I-5 that goes from like Vancouver to the Hillsborough area, so I don't have to drive through downtown Portland to get to the Oregon coast. Because unlike Damian Lillard, I like to go to the Oregon coast, right? But being in Vancouver, if I'm going to go to like Tillamook, I have to drive through downtown Portland. I want a interstate that's like mirrored from I-205. I've ranted about that. I'm passionate about that. It'll never happen, but it would be amazing if it did. So I'll look at maps and be like, where would that even connect? I'm weird like that, okay? So this article is right up my alley in terms of the Blazers being ambitious with how they would redevelop the Rose Quarter. Okay? So there was an article by Joe Freeman of the Oregonian and Jonathan Bach, also of the Oregonian. This was on OregonLive.com. It's behind a paywall. So I'm just going to grab things that stood out from this article. It's a pretty lengthy article. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to basically summarize it, talk a little bit about it. Okay? So the article, I will read the start because it kind of sets the scene. So somewhere in the executive offices at one center court, a collection of colorful renderings sits tucked away, hiding the possibilities of what could be in a dream world where Moda Center and the Rose Quarter are reimagined. They feature acres of waterfront property and greenways along the banks of the Willamette River. They include a hidden interstate avenue buried beneath pedestrian walkways. They contain a covered Max Light Rail station located steps away from a gigantic atrium that welcomes Blazer maniacs to Portland Trail Blazer games. And blanketing it all is a barrage of mixed-use development complete with towering new buildings. So the writers of this article talked to a team source that they said had direct knowledge of renovation plans. That's how they worded it. Direct knowledge of renovation plans. And that source had a quote that said, we kind of had this idea like, hey, if we had no budget and we dream big, what could this space look like? How could we take advantage of the fact that there's the waterfront right there? And when I read this quote, Eric, it reminded me of the conversation that we had recently on stream where I was talking about how it sucks that there is the Rose Quarter right next to the Willamette River, but there is literally no access to the river whatsoever because you have Interstate Avenue, Max Rail right there, and then you literally have train tracks right on the river. So it was funny to me to read this quote and be like, yeah, exactly. Now, this article says nothing about like these dream renovation and redevelopment plans. It says nothing about the railroad tracks that are actually right there on the river, so I don't know what the hell they do with that. But I thought it was interesting, and this article basically went on to say like the organization, knowing a new owner was coming in, didn't just want to wait for the new owner and then the new owner gets control of the team and says, all right, what's the plans for renovating Moda Center? And then the team had no plans. Like they wanted to get ahead of that ball, knowing that there's going to be stuff that needs to happen with the renovation of Moda Center. So they wanted to be able to present plans to a new owner right when he comes in terms of different ideas and plans and so forth. And the word is the new ownership group and the city are both interested in renovating Moda Center and reimagining Moda Center. And it's not just, oh, we need a new stadium. Okay? So this article basically said as much. I've been talking about that recently, how that's the attitude towards this. The big question is just, how ambitious is Tom Dundon? Right? When, we'll see when that gets approved. He's not going to speak on anything until the sale is approved, and he was quoted as saying he'd happily talk then in this article. But there was also a couple other things that they went into about what specific types of improvements need to happen with Moda Center. But Eric, I don't know if you want to touch upon anything that I just shared. Oh, you got collab cammed. You're gone. Okay, well, here, I'll bring you back.
I'm back now.
Yeah. If you want to touch upon anything I just shared or have any thoughts on anything that I just shared, I will give you the opportunity before I dive into more.
I mean, it's kind of weird, just like, oh, here's what we'd love to do, that will never happen, but here's what we'd like to do. Like, just freaking get it done. Like, because they're all... I wish I could just get something. Moda Center was built, 30 years ago? I wish they could actually do something that they've been talking about.
Well, they have a new owner coming in that's done this with a previous location.
Yeah.
Like, if you're having this talk with Jody Allen still controlling the team, it's not even something I'd be interested in talking about. The reason why I'm interested in talking about this is because you have an ambitious new owner that's buying the team. And I've said this is a game changer for the entire organization, whether it's just holding the organization to a higher standard, which I believe Tom Dundon will. I've gone into detail about my thoughts on that, but also with like the stadium and redeveloping the area and that sort of stuff. We've already seen him do it with the Carolina Hurricanes in Raleigh, North Carolina. So it gives me hope that they'll actually do something. It's just going to be interesting to see what they do. It is cool to hear that apparently a team source with direct knowledge of these plans brings up the waterfront being right there, and we have literally no access to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how they can do that. I think, the article states a buried Interstate Avenue with pedestrian walkways over it, which would
Sounds cool.
Access to the waterfront. The whole problem is you just have the barrier of the railroad tracks there, so I don't really know what's beyond that, but that's cool, right? I would love for Moda Center to be a state-of-the-art arena. Now it's 30 years old, so state-of-the-art. Not going to get there, but be, reimagined and have some, whether it's the concourse, I'll talk a little bit more about that, but especially having access to the waterfront would be cool as well. And just having stuff around the arena. It's no secret that around the arena is pretty bad for an NBA arena. There's just nothing around the arena. Basically, you drive in or ride the Max line in, go to a game, and then leave, unless you're going to Dr. Jack's, which is always insanely freaking packed because there's nothing else around there. It's always insanely packed in there. So,
well, it's not that big either.
It's not that big, and yeah, it's like the only place. If there's another place, I don't know it, which is clearly a problem because I go to a decent amount of games. So I thought that was interesting, but also one of the things that was mentioned in this article, Eric, that I hadn't brought up before when we've had these conversations, is that it takes a long-ass time to get through lines, through security, scan tickets, and get into the stadium. It is a slow process. And this article brought up that was an issue. Let me find the direct part of the article here, but it brought up having an atrium or having I forget what the word was, but in addition to the concourse, that's just bigger, more entrances, more doors to funnel people in through. Because if you show up at the wrong time, if you show up 15 minutes prior to tip or closer to tip, you're probably not seeing tip off time. You're probably not seeing the tip. So I like that's something also, they addressed.
Inside too, there's one or two escalators from 300 level down too.
Yeah.
You get stuck waiting to go down there.
Yeah.
But this is kind of off subject, but kind of similar to what you're saying. My mom is season ticket holder, and she's had knee replacement, hip replacement, all that stuff. She's got some hardware in her body, and they ended up taking care of her later in the season, I guess you could say. Maybe still wasn't great, but she would get patted down, harassed, had all kinds of issues with security guards being very disrespectful and rude to her. And that's a whole part of the process. It just made me think of that. So that kind of thing sucks too. But yeah, anything like that can make the experience better. And I think it's important to have the experience around the arena better. Yeah. all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff in the
Yeah. So
arena.
yeah, the article said any remodel would have to feature a substantial change at fan egress, most likely with a large atrium that not only can keep fans dry, but also expand the arena's retail square footage when talking about like getting fans in the gates. Now, when I read that, I immediately started thinking, all right, where would that be? Would that would that where would that be on the stadium, do you think? Because I feel like the most logical and maybe the only logical spot on the stadium for that to be would be like where the fountains are.
Yeah, because the Max station is right there. I mean, you come up to the fountain when you walk up from the Max, so it would have to be that area between the Max line and there, because they specifically mentioned the Max line, so it would be from where you got off there. I forget what street that is, but you get off on the Max on the southeast part of the Moda Center, and then there'd probably be some big thing right there.
Yeah. Um, Here, let's just pull up map here. So, yeah, like here. Can you guys see my cursor? No, you can't see my cursor. Let me fix that. Oh no, you can't see my cursor. Okay. So, yeah, south side. I mean, it sounds like they would want to do a lot of work around the south side.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we got the railroad tracks running right here. If you've never been to a game, maybe you're not from the Portland area, haven't seen the way things are laid out. This is what I'm talking about with the tracks right along the river. You got Interstate Avenue, which is the road right here. They're talking about like having pedestrian walkways over that. The thing is like if you have railroad tracks here, what are you going to have over here? You're not going to have walkways to nothing. So this is maybe the area to develop. I just don't know what they do with the train tracks here. That's like the big obstacle. Everything else is, I think, pretty dang feasible. If the train tracks, this thing wasn't here, you can have a nice waterfront development.
Is it train tracks or the Max tracks?
No, there's literally train tracks. These are because the Max is
Okay.
the Max is here. Yeah, there's literally train tracks around the river, which never been a fan of that. So, in terms of like atrium, I guess, I mean, you need these parking garages up here. I don't know where else you put them. So I don't know how it could be on the north side. You're tucked up against I-5. Like, it really only makes sense. Maybe like kind of combining these buildings here would be the way, and then building to the south. So that's kind of the thought I had from this article, is like that's maybe the way to improve things around the stadium, because everything else, there's like buildings, parking garages, parking lots. Like, you need parking lots. So
I mean, because the Max station is right there too.
yeah, so if you had like a covered Max station like here, right? Let me make sure you can see it here, and then like some sort of atrium here, and you could literally go from the covered Max station into the atrium connected to the arena. Like, that'd be a pretty cool setup. You don't have to go out and brave the elements. So yeah, I think that would be a welcome addition to Moda Center. And then there was thoughts about the inside of the arena as well. So let me go back to the article here. It says the Blazers are desperate to add luxury seating and behind-the-scenes club access to a reimagined 100-level section, which is the lowest section, while they want to add amenities and party zones, which is the big thing in new stadiums, is party zones. All right? They want to add party zones to an outdated 200 section and oversized 300 section, which is so big that it only sells out against marquee opponents during the playoffs or for a Taylor Swift concert. And that was a quote from the team source. So, Yeah, I mean, having different things and just seating would be cool. So fans want a better there was a quote, fans want a better luxury box and better experiences and amenities, and they're willing to pay more for it if we provide that sort of stuff. In a perfect world, perhaps the remodel would even include a courtside club next to the Blazers locker room, allowing fans a chance to watch players enter and leave the court. And they also talked about how the seating is too cramped. Eric, you'll love this. As a tall dude, okay, they even talked about how when you sit in a seat, your knees are up against the back of the seat in front of you. It's basically like sitting in an economy seat on an airplane, which is pretty brutal, especially when you're paying the kind of money it costs to buy Blazer tickets, concert tickets, and even Cirque Soleil. I don't know how to say that. Tickets.
Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, I was close. So making room for improvements to give Moda a first-class feel could mean reducing the arena's current capacity between, right now it's between 19 and 20,000. Though by how much they would reduce it is unclear. So that's kind of the thoughts in terms of the renovations, which a little bit more room for seating would be great. Different party zones, I don't know if I'll ever show up to a party zone, Eric. Maybe we can have a Blazers Uprise party zone.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah. So, just thought I'd kind of talk about some of those, just this article, because it brought up different things that I found interesting. So, it also goes into who, would pay for the renovations and what about a new arena instead. And if you guys want to read that, it's on OregonLive.com. So, do you have thoughts on any of that? Are you a party zone supporter?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to have areas where you could do that kind of stuff if you wanted to. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Since it's Portland, can we have a strip club section, or is that not allowed?
Well, I know you're joking.
In the 300 level, at the top.
No, it'd have to be. You wouldn't be able to have it in the open part. I know.
Yeah.
You could if it was closed off to underage.
I thought you'd love that idea.
Why? Why me in particular?
Anyway, your thoughts.
I mean, I kind of look at it much like the MLB to Portland. I'll get excited when it happens, if it happens.
Which do you think is more likely?
Oh, definitely anything to do with the Blazers.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
Agreed.
Yeah. Just because there's going to be a new owner with a history of almost an exact similar situation with, rumors about the team leaving, rumors about the area not being the greatest, all that kind of stuff was almost the exact situation he walked into. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm excited for. I think it's either going to be a new stadium or it's going to be a renovated Moda Center. I would be excited for either. Unless the new stadium's in freaking Hillsborough, which I know you would love being that close to games, but I would hate considering we don't got that freaking interstate over that way. Yeah. So.
Be home in time for the post-game show.
Well, you'd be home. If I go to a game, you'd be home 45 minutes before a post-game show. Yeah. Five credentials, you know what I mean? I'd be screwed. I don't know. So that's why I turn them down when I get offered them for media members, supposedly, reportedly. If you missed the intro, then you don't know what I'm talking about. That's okay. Yeah, I just kind of to summarize this, though, I'm super excited for having a new ownership and a new set of eyes on this, and it applies to potential renovations. with a guy that's done it before to holding this team to a higher standard. You know, he seems like the type of guy that you have to have a legitimate plan other than just like we're going to wing it, which has been kind of the feeling the past 4 years. So I'm just super excited for what Tom Dundon will bring as an owner. And yeah, I was watching some Dame clips today, and it just got me excited because, you know, I was on cloud nine for like 2 weeks after Dame came back, and now that the offseason's kind of over, I feel like, you know, sometimes I wouldn't say I forget that he's back, you know, just like almost used to him being back now, which the second I see him at like, you know, Fan Fest, it's going to hit again like, damn, this dude's really back. So I'm excited for that. And seeing all the Scoot workout tapes has me excited to watch him this year. Denny Avdia had a 34-point game against Luka Doncic in Slovenia. Unfortunately for him, Luka Doncic had an even better game, and Slovenia beat Israel. But Denny, I will say this. I was asked this question last stream, Eric. Like, has his play in Eurobasket made you more confident in him scoring 20 points per game? I will say the one thing that I was like, damn, okay, Denny, was some of the off-the-dribble threes he was hitting. That seemed like it got me kind of excited because he wasn't like a super high-volume three-point shooter here, even when he was playing well last season, and it wasn't like between the legs, step back, you know, some of the step backs off the move threes he was hitting off the dribble was exciting to see because it was kind of new in a way. You know, he's been capable of hitting those shots, just he was hitting them regularly in Eurobasket, so we'll see if that
I've been
translates.
excited. See, he plays Giannis next, I think, on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know the schedule.
They're headed to the knockout rounds now. I think they're playing Greece, if I'm not mistaken. Chat would know.
Well, hopefully Denny listens to Yusuf on how to guard Giannis. Yeah.
Well, Giannis didn't play in the game that they played. Yusuf.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else?
Yeah, got two quick things. One, Cam Thomas. We talked about some restricted free agents.
Yep.
The other day, Cam Thomas ends up taking his qualifying offer.
Yep.
It was reported that he was offered a 1-year deal for $9.5 million. His qualifying offer was $6 million, and he turned it down because one of the requirements of that contract was him waiving his no trade clause, which he would get because it would screw up his bird rights. And he was also offered a 2-year, $30 million contract with, I believe, a team option in the second year or something. So I was left wondering, like, why, like, the Brooklyn Nets do not want Cam Thomas if they're offering him those contracts. So, like, why didn't they just let him go or try to trade him or something? Like, I don't understand.
I mean, letting him go doesn't get him anything. Trading him, it sounds like, I mean, just seeing what his archetype has gone for, trading him wouldn't have done anything, you know, netted him really anything.
But neither does signing him for a year and then he's just going to leave.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe he improves a little bit, and then going into the offseason, it's like, okay, we'll pay you a little bit more, and maybe that's his best offer. Like, I don't know.
To me, their best move would have been to offer him a 3-year contract because then he would have retained bird rights, not had a no trade clause, and if it was somewhat reasonable, he would have gotten.
I don't know if he was what's a reasonable 3-year contract?
I don't know, like somewhere between 45 and 60.
I don't think he was taking 3 years 45. I don't even think he was taking 3 years 60. You hear all these reports. He thinks deserves to be paid $30 to $40 million a year. I
mean, he's gonna get a Dennis Schroeder situation next summer.
Yeah, probably. But the whole thing with Cam Thomas is he's insanely confident to a point of being irrational. Like he
Mhm.
plays like that, you know what I mean? So he's the type of guy that I could see like, yeah, I'm not taking anything below 20 million a year, 25 million a year, and Brooklyn just not wanting him to pay that sort of money.
It's
And
just weird because they signed Daron Sharp for 2 years.
they're trying to
Just
preserve cap space for the future.
yeah,
Also,
obviously, it's
yeah.
just yeah.
They have no bad contracts on the books right now. Like they're preserving that flexibility. They've signed two superstars in the past with Katie and Kyrie that didn't go so well, but it's Brooklyn. If they have cap space, who knows if they could do it again. So that's a big part of the calculation. So I think to them, it's like, why potentially hurt that to pay a guy that we feel like is maybe better as a sixth man
Mhm.
that doesn't want to be the sixth man and thinks he deserves 40 billion. So I think,
But that's not going to change after this season, especially. I mean, they're not going to be that good. So
yeah, I mean, he probably walks for nothing, but I mean, it's something where they probably try and extract a little value for him out of the deadline, and that's probably why they were wanting to give him the 1 year, $9.5 million contract with waiving the no trade clause, and he's like, nope, I'll take the qualifying offer. So
he's being a little unreasonable too with wanting 30 million or whatever he wants, but also the Nets are royally screwing him, and because he's signing a qualifying offer or even taking that 1 year option, uh, he I don't know they could have. They're basically saying, "Oh, you're going to have to re-sign on our terms here, or hope that a team has cap space and you can get more than like a mid-level exception," which I don't know if he's getting. So one of the
yeah,
situations where your own free agent, if you play hardball with them, it kind of screws them over in this new CBA.
yeah, I don't even know how much I'd view of it as like he's being screwed over, because for me, it's like, how much value does he really have in general? Does he help you win basketball games? He's
Well,
a
to be fair, he hasn't really had a team to judge that for.
yeah, but it's the classic case of like, oh, he's just chucking a bunch of shots on a really bad team
Mm.
on like average efficiency and doesn't play any defense and doesn't really rebound and doesn't really make anybody else better, you know? And that archetype, you look at what Norm gets traded for. Boston supposedly was trying to flip Ant and weren't able to. You look at what Colin Sexton got traded for. Like this archetype of player seems like it has no value across the league.
Yeah, but I mean, Anthony and Colin already have contracts, though. Like it's,
Yeah,
but
but I mean,
oh,
Colin's making 20 mil going into his final year, right? So that's not a, you wouldn't think for a guy that's able to score the way he does, that's a negative contract, right? Like it's not. They had to give up a second to get Nurk back. Like that's insane. Norm's contract wasn't, I don't think, is particularly bad for a guy that was in all-star talks last year. He's making, what, 18, 19 million? So just weird. The good news is,
oh,
Eric, if offense continues to be a problem, the Blazers can always go out and get that type of score for cheap, it seems like, in the future.
I completely disagree with Elizabeth Allen in chat. He says he should have taken either offer, meaning the 1 year, 2 year deal. He doesn't need to be in control of where he goes. If a team wants him enough to trade for him, it's a good thing for him, in my opinion. Um, I disagree because now that he retained his no trade clause, he can talk to those teams before he gets traded to see what their interest is. Whereas a team might have just traded for him as a rental and had no intention of paying for him. Or, like in the case with Rodney Hood and the Portland Trailblazers, a team could have traded for him, but the best possible option for them could be the tax mid-level exception or something like that. So there would be, he could have gotten traded to a team that had literally no chance of retaining him or paying him more than $5 million next year if he got rid of that no trade clause. So I think for him, it was worth retaining that and giving up a little bit of money this year so he can kind of say yes or no to, okay, this seems like a team that should have the ability to re-sign me even though they don't have my bird rights, whereas he could have really gotten screwed and been a free agent and not had any bird rights or whatever.
Yep. And yeah, the rule that's in play here is if a player has bird rights and re-signs on a 1-year contract and then gets traded, they lose their bird rights. So it's the same thing that happened with Rodney Hood, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So I think it's a rule in place so that teams don't just like. I don't know. Actually, I don't really know why it's a rule. I guess there's ways teams could just like sign a contract to just trade them later. That be their only plan, and the NBA maybe doesn't want that, and that's why it's a rule in the CBA. I guess, like, yeah.
The messed up part is there's one team with cap space right now, and it's Brooklyn. So they're the only team that could do that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And here's the thing: like, he's gonna bet on himself, and it's the type of thing that if he has more power, he could make more money next offseason than he's giving up by taking 3.5 or $3 million less. So I agree with Eric.
Also, do you think they should change that rule with the bird right thing to like prevent a team from kind of screwing him like that, or do you think it should be in place? I'm just wondering if you should, because like if you sign the qualifying offer, but if you got traded, you retained bird rights, it would give the team a little bit more value in trade, I believe. And then also it would, because we've seen it now, we talked about this at like last stream, we don't need to rehash it, but teams basically screwing over restricted free agents and just refusing to sign them until like we'll have to see what happens with the other restricted free agents. But like, would that kind of prevent teams from having all the leverage in these situations and being like, okay, well, if they accept the qualifying offer, then I don't know, give them some sort of chance to sign with other teams for more money, like some sort of exception or something like that? Or would it lead to a lot of players just using that to get out of whatever team that drafted them?
I think it's possible that would, what you just said, would be the issue with that is, you know, the team would lose control and that player could kind of force their way where they wanted to go, knowing that they can get a payday and like go into their restricted free agency like almost willingly taking the qualifying offer at times if they're not getting a massive payday. Like, it can kind of screw over the team, which I believe is why that is a rule. So I wouldn't change it because I think there's some like unforeseen issues that would come from changing it.
But the teams are screwing over the players as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, a select group of players. Some players are completely fine. Some players are getting their bags. Like, this year, I think was even more so that way. But if Cam Thomas was really, really valuable, he would not be sitting here making $6 million. Like, you know, the players that are clearly valuable and starting caliber players, I guess outside of Josh Giddey. But Josh Giddey just broke out second half of the year for Chicago. He doesn't really have a huge sample of playing at that level. You know what I mean? Like, so that's part of the reason why these players are in that position. If they were playing better or had more of a case going in, they probably wouldn't be restricted free agents. Restricted free agents in September is how I should contextualize that. So, yeah, I don't think there's a perfect solution, though. So I think this might be the best solution, even though in Cam Thomas' situation, it's not the best solution for him.
Yep.
But anyway, we'll see if we get more signings now that he signed.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, the Blazers or the Remix look for them to make a signing soon.
Yeah, Marjan Beauchamp.
Yep.
Yeah, he was spotted wearing Blazer gear.
He wasn't wearing Blazer gear.
Yeah, he was. The picture I saw, he was.
He was wearing black shorts with red trim.
Did you see his shirt though?
Well, yeah, Blazer shirt on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see the shirt. I have those same shorts. They're not Blazer shorts, but
here where's the picture at? Let me try and find it.
Well, he recently worked out for the Blazers, or Remix. Blazers still have that two-way spot open.
Yeah.
The holdup right now, I think the Blazers, if he would agree to sign with the Remix, I think he would have already signed. I think he's holding out that hope that the Blazers offer him that two-way.
Yep.
But because the Blazers still are one of the few teams that have a two-way. Now you can just cut someone off the two-way, so any team could still sign him. But yeah, we'll see. But I mean, he's from Washington.
Yakima Valley Community College legend.
He was. Remember when the team went down to this is 2 years ago. They went down to that Colorado-Oregon game,
Mm-hmm.
and for some reason he was with the team or whatever. Like he's been spotted at the practice facility several times. Like works out with a lot of the guys here in Portland. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm expecting him to sign. He was wearing a Blazer shirt. Yeah, because
he did work out for them, but
yeah, and he worked out for him. But
this is the window for G League workouts.
Yeah, so
he'll at the very least he'll get a training camp invite.
Yeah. Alrighty, that's it from me. We'll see you guys again on Monday after Monday Night Football. I'm gonna start trying to record some player previews and stuff. We'll see how far I get. Not gonna promise anything, but I'm a busy man. But I'm gonna start trying to record at least the important ones that you guys will want to watch. So stay tuned for that. I think in a future stream we should.
Chris Murray.
Yeah, Chris Murray player preview. Shoot better than 27% from three and better than 45% from the free throw line. End of video.
Bam, did it. Good job.
Yeah, end of video. I could just clip that and upload it. But yeah, I think we'll have a future stream where we pick like over under win totals for all NBA teams. That would be fun to look back at the end of the year. Maybe that would kind of spoil our standings predictions though. So should we do that?
Yeah, I think so. We still have no rosters though. Like there's still like what happens when Kuminga and Kawhi are on different teams.
Yeah. Yeah. In like first stream of October will probably be our standings predictions and stuff, but we'll find ways to entertain you guys. You guys know the deal. And once again, just want to give a shout out to Sleeper. Use promo code Uprise. Link in the description below so you can sign up for Sleeper. Get 100% deposit match up to $100. Can't wait to do some fun stuff with them, man. Like I said in the last stream, it's always cool working with a brand that I use. Like I've used their app for a couple years now, making picks. So shout out to them. Check them out. We're out of here. Any final words?
Thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
Alrighty, beautiful. Well said. Have a good weekend. We'll see you again on Monday. Unless the Blazers sign Marjan Beauchamp. Just kidding, I'm not going live if they sign Marjan Beauchamp. I'll tweet about it though. Follow description box below for those as well. Join our Discord. All that good stuff. Hit the like. Subscribe. We'll catch you Monday. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.